What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into More Important Issues. More Important Issues is brought to you by our sponsors, Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. And here's a quick word from our good friends at Blue Water Climate Control.
People always ask, where did we get the name Blue Water Climate Control? When a Navy ship casts off lines, exits the harbor, and loses sight of land, that's blue water sailing. It takes a team of people to do that. Tireless work, focus, and attention to detail. So much of starting a business is just like that. After it's done, you get filled with deep satisfaction for accomplishing something. And it's quickly followed by, now the real work begins. We're Blue Water Climate Control.
Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Out by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another Sunday edition of More Important Issues. It is Sunday, July 18th. It is, you look at the outline, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, our topics for tonight. It looks like we've officially hit the dog days of summer, but I'll tell you what, man, this has been a great week, great weekend of sports for a July weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a good game last night. You had some fireworks today. I think USA soccer. You're the soccer guy, but
yeah, I mean yes, I like that. Obviously, that game's exciting. Unfortunately, it's a kind of meaningless and so I mean not meaningless. Everybody wants to win, obviously, but young guys, it's not like your real rostered team.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like USA basketball playing on like a non-Olympic season, or maybe a USA basketball playing in an Olympic season this year. I don't know.
You had Nashville FC kind of whoop the snot out of somebody last night.
Big game last night. That's actually one of my most important. Big game last night for Nashville. And then you also had the British Open, or the Open, excuse me, depending on what side of golf you're on there. Just an absolute phenomenal finish this morning. So, yeah, it's like for a July weekend where you're normally trying to find something to get into or hoping there's a good baseball game on in the afternoon, that just wasn't the case this weekend. A lot of good stuff on TV. Obviously not all day long like you would, like maybe, what you get in the spring and the fall, but it definitely worked. It was a good weekend. What's up, Credence? Good to have you in here. We are going to be talking about Tennessee announced future scheduling. What year was that? 2020?
2025.
Almost said 6. So 2025 little future schedule announcement. We'll talk about that. You all know me. You may know my thoughts on it already. We'll also talk about some of the most frustrating games. Some of them are very predictable. I'm impressed that some people left off like pretty much an entire season. And I know you'll agree with me on this because I think we've voiced our opinions on them a couple times, but we will get into some of those more frustrating. It's kind of like my test to see if you're a real Tennessee fan. Like, did you suffer with us? Were you there in the midst of tragedy? So that's how I test people. Yeah. We'll also have some QB talk. I mean, it's just, first off, it's the only thing to talk about right now, but it's the biggest question for this team because I think there's a lot of talent on the roster, but if you don't have a quarterback, it's all for naught. I should say a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. That's where I think there's a lot of talent.
Yeah, I think it's kind of been like, hey, can somebody maybe knock off the guy who you think is going to be the quarterback?
Right.
But in this one, you're like, who the hell is number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4?
It's a lot of great questions.
Yeah.
Love them all. Evan Russell did announce he'll return, so we kind of touched on that last week with the baseball roster. Some questions. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this gives you more answers, just because it's like you've got it's going to be interesting how you play that outfield next year, who DHs, stuff like that. But you did add another guy at the plate that can do some damage to teams. So that's exciting. Like it may have raised some questions as far as defensively, but that's exciting for another guy that's going to create trouble for other teams there.
Yeah. Be aware or beware. I guess you better be aware too. But yeah, beware of Evan Russell because he's coming back for another year. And I'm sure opposing pitchers are like, damn it.
For sure. Jack Leiter's glad he's not in the SEC anymore, right?
Right. Yeah, he's done with that.
Drop your questions in them. We'll don't have as many topics, so maybe we definitely can chat about whatever you want to talk about. Maybe that guy who gets in here and wants to talk Southern Miss football again. That was random, but we'll do it if we need to. We'll do it if we need to. For sure.
Slow week, so yeah, we can. Yeah, just any questions y'all have, just please get them in the chat. We'd love to kind of talk with you all. Since it is kind of a slower episode, slower time, not a lot of breaking news or news. Some topics in here that we'd love to hear your takes on and stuff like that. So,
and I've noticed our territory is expanding. People must like the geography aspect of it. So tell us where you're listening from. We've gotten some new ones in here the last couple of weeks. So tell us where you're listening from.
Awesome.
Let's jump right into it. Vols heading back to Atlanta in 2025. They will open the 2025 season. The biggest question for me about this is who's going to be the coach in 2025. I'm not saying it won't be Josh Heupel, but will it be Josh Heupel?
That's a good point.
I think it's fun doing that.
I mean, if we're going off like what the last two staffs or last four staffs, yeah, none of them made it to that fifth year, right? I guess this would technically be the fourth year. I think Butch Jones is the only one that made it.
Butch made it to 4.
Yeah.
Butch made it to 4. Dooley made it to he made it through 3. So yeah, no one made it to that coveted fifth year. This would be the fourth year. Yeah, he just needs to make it to the fourth. So
yeah, got to tie Butch. I don't know how hard that is, but
well, that's another thing. I want to know how many of these neutral site games were like. So I assume Butch probably got the West Virginia one. Butch got Bristol. That's unfair though. I feel like he rushed that one. So I wonder how many coaches at Tennessee who have been able to set these, because Dooley in 2011 we played that's the last time. The last time was Georgia Tech in 2017, and then the previous time Tennessee's played in this kickoff game was also 2011. This could be Josh Heupel. This so far has been the kiss of death for Tennessee coaches. Derek Dooley beat NC State in 2011 in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. And Butch Jones beat Georgia Tech in the kickoff game in 2017. So do not put on the leather hat, Heupel. Even if you win, you can't put it on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the curse of death right there is the leather football helmet. Yeah, I mean, I don't like neutral site games. They kind of suck. I just think from a fan aspect, it kind of sucks.
I think from every type of aspect, it sucks. Like, I mean, because you're a player, don't you want to play in a bunch of different stadiums? And like, sure, Atlanta Mercedes-Benz is going to be a cool stadium to go to, but when you talk about college football, wouldn't you rather play on campuses?
Right. Yeah, I just think from a money standpoint, I don't know how much money a home game makes. I would love to know that.
I would say a Tennessee home game's got to. You said $3 million. You think was the number?
Yeah, that they got to just play in this game.
Yeah, I got to think it's bigger than that. And the argument to it is, and I think this is a dumb argument, is you lose money the year you travel. So if we did this with Syracuse, it would be a home and home. Mm-hmm. And the argument is you lose money that year. But if you're splitting it in half the year you do the neutral site game, then what does it matter? Like it's 6 1, half a dozen the other at that point.
Yeah. I just don't get it. And they've not really been great to Tennessee, I guess. No. Especially those two those two guys won that Chick-fil-A kickoff, and then they didn't make it the rest of the season. So, even if you win that game, you can't really bank on it because if history repeats itself again, it's telling you that Josh Heupel might not make it out of 2025.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I don't know. I guess I would be curious to hear like players. It would be really interesting to hear guys from like the 90s, early 2000s when these kickoff games didn't really exist versus what the guys who've been playing in them, the last probably 10 years. Yeah, 10, 12 years now who play in these kickoff games, like what their thoughts are. Because I don't know, especially like neutral site games, like bowl games are perfect time to do them. I don't know why they've tried to move them to the beginning. Like, I mean, they've just added them on. It's a money grab. That's what it is. It's a money grab from outside sources, people who aren't making money from those on-campus games. And again, I just think campus is what makes college football different than NFL football. There's some NFL teams that kind of have that like campus feel. You have the bars that are only popping on NFL Sunday games, or areas that really are only there on those Sundays. But overall, like college football has a different type of feel. I mean, we've talked about this. If you're gonna sit here and tell me that college football has a better product on the field than NFL, you're an idiot. It's not just about that makes it special. So like to take games out of an element of it that makes it special, it's just an interesting move to me, and it's always kind of baffled me. So just I think keeping. I would love to go to Syracuse. Going to a game at the Carrier Dome, I think would be really cool.
Absolutely, yeah. Go back to that '98 season.
That too.
I mean, who did they? They had Donovan McNabb. Who else? Dwight Freeney, I think, was on that team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool. We haven't played Syracuse since then. There's a little history there. I'm sure in 2025 it'll be some big story that Knox News or somebody will post. But I think it's kind of lame to see a like you said, kind of taking that college aspect out of it. And I guess you get to play a week earlier. You get to open the season a week earlier or weekend earlier.
Oh, okay, so it's your. Oh, I didn't know they moved it up. I know it was Tennessee played on a Friday in 2011.
Gotcha. I think they have been a week earlier.
I think they played on a Monday in 2017. And they played on Labor Day. Yeah.
So this is going to be Saturday, August 30th.
Gotcha.
So I think that's that kind of weekend before everything really gets going.
Should be that Labor Day weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
Think
and
so.
I don't know. I mean, 2025, I guess it doesn't really mean anything, but I think neutral site games are kind of dumb. Everybody else would rather do a home and home. I guess you kind of take that like not having to set everything up and clean up, and I understand that aspect, but Danny White, you're not having to do any of that stuff anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's an exposure thing too.
Yeah, you probably get to play on prime time, like at 8:00 on Saturday night.
The Chick-fil-A Bowl name, but again, I'm just like, if you want to play in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, make it at the Chick-fil-A Bowl in the postseason. If you like, that's another thing that bothers me kind of about these neutral site games. It's like, I don't know, it's just a weird setup that I mean, I believe it's a money grab, and I mean, Chick-fil-A. The sponsors, the people putting the bowl on, that game on, obviously make money in a time they wouldn't normally make money, on those games. So yeah, I think it's just I don't know. I would love to see. I hope Tennessee goes to more home and homes. I know Oklahoma. I don't know how that's going to work since we didn't get to travel there this past year. I'm sure they'll still be coming here. Is that 23, or is that next year?
Is that next year?
It's 2022 or 2023. I can't remember which one. But I mean, home and homes are great, and I think there needs to be more of them in major college football because you want to go to campuses. You want to go to these, even if they're maybe not like famous stadiums, like older known stadiums. Like you want to go to, like Syracuse fans would want to come to Neyland Stadium. You can't tell me otherwise. I would love to see Tennessee go out and play at BYU. Like that would be fantastic. That would be a great home and home.
That's what made the Oklahoma Tennessee like that. That was a good game. Both of those games are pretty good games. And the fact
that one in 13 was bad. I think maybe like the first quarter was like I think Tennessee played okay, but then it got away from them.
It got away from them.
I know Justin Worley got beat to hell, so I just can't imagine it was a good game.
Right. But I mean that's like what made it. Like people talk about that game because of the crowd and everything like that. Like they don't.
Well, I mean that's how
in the. What is it? What's the? It's the Falcons, right?
The
Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Oklahoma's.
Oh yeah. I mean, like no one's gonna really talk about that game.
No, it is a cool stadium though. I'll say that, but it's not. But like the reason you want to go to campuses is, like I said, for the things around campus and also the actual stadium itself.
Right. I would go to the Carrier Dome. I'm probably not going to go to Atlanta to watch us play.
I'm not going to Atlanta until we earn it. That's when I'll be in Atlanta, Danny White.
There you go.
So That's when you'll get me buying my ticket to Mercedes-Benz. Other than that, I'm out.
Also, they're doing a doubleheader for this. So Virginia Tech and South Carolina play either Sunday or Monday.
That's what they normally do. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
That's kind of.
Don't quote me on that.
I mean, doesn't that kind of take a little bit from your game?
It kind of seems like a travel ball tournament, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Like, hey, come and play. We've got a bunch of other teams here.
Like a showcase.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. We do have a couple questions. Credence asks, what uniforms do you want to see come back this year or be made? I mean, the black uniforms are they're apparently going to be a thing. I like the black uniforms. I wish they were maybe more than what the retail version looks like. Maybe a little bit more orange on it, but I like black uniforms. I hope they don't get worn with a white helmet. That's my only. Black uniforms with a smoky gray helmet, I think would look very good.
See, I'm thinking there's not going to be black uniforms.
You don't think there are? They just made retail version.
I think they bought those thinking there was going to be a thing, and then it wasn't a thing. They already had that order.
That's true. That could be a good point. I don't know that. Yeah, but maybe not. I would love to see the Nike smoky grays come back. I didn't like the Adidas version. I like the Nike one a lot.
The
You didn't like
version
Nike?
was rough.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Adidas version wasn't a fan of, especially with a white helmet. It might have been better with a gray helmet, but I like the Nike version a lot. I would love to see. I don't need an alternate. I don't care. More orange pants. That's my really only answer. Is wear the orange pants more often.
There you go. Yeah. Creamsicles. You like the creamsicles?
I'm a huge fan of the creamsicle uniform.
I love it.
One of my favorite pictures. I don't know if they were wearing orange pants. I wish this was a more more popular thing that I think Alabama and Tennessee did it pretty often that they bring back. But it's that I think it's from the 60s, I think, and it's a magazine cover of a Tennessee and Alabama game, and Alabama's wearing crimson and Tennessee's wearing orange. They might have been wearing orange pants too, but it's just I love the color on color matchup. Like, I think it's a great matchup. Obviously, you have to have the right colors to do it. You couldn't do like Alabama and Georgia color on color, but Alabama's crimson and Tennessee's orange. That and the CBS intro is that's college football to me. That's what I think of.
Oh, Vern?
No. The da, 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 da.
No, I know, but Vern makes it too, right?
I know. I said the intro. I specified the CBS intro.
Big Vern guy, Caleb is.
Yeah, he can put me to sleep. He can get me going on a Saturday night.
It's like a NASCAR race.
Yeah, better. Dude, Vern Lundquist's voice can put me to sleep faster than just about anybody's. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I won't lie. But yeah, those are. So I would love to see. That's not exactly answering your question, Credence, but that uniform matchup. I would
Oklahoma
love to see that
is 2024.
Okay, so I was off. Regardless, both years. 2024. Oklahoma coming into Neyland. I'm sure they'll restructure that. I'm sure Oklahoma will want Tennessee to come to them.
Right.
So that's a good home and home. I mean, but we've already done that one, so I'd love to see a different home and home. But at least it's a home and home and not a neutral site game.
Yeah,
Like
hopefully we're a little bit better.
That's another
at that
thing.
point.
As far as neutral site games go, like the neutral site game that I didn't mind at all, Tennessee, Virginia Tech at Bristol. It's regional. It makes sense. There's almost like there's not a rivalry there, but it's like regional enough to almost be a rivalry. Like you can kind of. So like that one was interesting. What the hell is a neutral site game with Tennessee versus Syracuse?
No clue.
No clue. And then like I know Syracuse is in the ACC now, but like at least Tennessee, NC State at that, Tennessee, Georgia Tech, at least those like seemed like understandable neutral site games. I know Syracuse is technically in the ACC, but it just doesn't feel like an SEC ACC matchup.
Yeah, like even the Belk Bowl or whatever Belk kickoff with West Virginia, that was kind of regional based too.
Yeah, there was like you almost felt like there could be a rivalry, like
Right.
could be like it made for an interesting matchup, and I feel like you almost have to have that with neutral site games, like Alabama USC. I don't know how good USC is really going to be, or no, it's Alabama Miami this year. So Alabama Miami, I don't know, I don't know how much faith I have in Miami to like even be competitive in that game, but they should be one of the top two teams in the ACC. So at least there's like the interesting matchup of seeing two major Power 5 opponents go at it. Whereas like, I mean, maybe Tennessee and Syracuse will be that in 2025. If somebody wants to bet with me on that, I'll take it and I will say the opposite. But maybe, I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
I've seen crazier things.
I mean, I just want a good game. Like us against West Virginia, that was a terrible game. Like it was cool to go to, but it was like we got our face beat in.
No,
So like I feel like with those neutral site games, at least you want to make it a good matchup.
Yeah, we had a good weekend in Charlotte. That was about the best part of that.
Right. Like the Tennessee Georgia Tech game, there was no defense in that at all. But at least it was close and exciting. It was also very frustrating too.
It was very frustrating. Very frustrating game. Speaking of frustrating, Bud Young asked, do you think we will still draw punishments from NCAA for football violations? I hear that we may get a break due to NIL rules in place now. Makes previous punishments seem hypocritical. I doubt I don't see the NCAA backing off this. Like, I don't see it happening. Tennessee's still currently investigating themselves, which tells me there's still stuff to occur. I would say Tennessee's looking at minimum. Like, this is the bottom of it, is a bowl ban for a year or two. You could potentially be talking more with scholarships and I'm trying to think of some other sanctions that may be appropriate because you did fire everyone involved, allegedly. I mean, who else? There's no one there left from that staff. So allegedly you fired everybody involved. But I don't know. I will say this, but I think my hope with this situation is that Tennessee kind of gets like forgotten about with all the NCAA is having to deal with right now. They do still have the FBI stuff to deal with in basketball. They do still have the what did LSU football recently get in trouble for? I thought some stuff was getting brought up down there.
Was it not OBJ handing out cash at the national championship?
I thought there was something big. Maybe that's all it was. I thought there was something bigger going on, though. But they do have a lot going on mixed with the NIL just now starting. So I'm kind of hoping maybe some of that gets just – it's like your parents, like when you do something bad, you maybe encourage your sibling to do something not near as bad, not necessarily like worse than you, but, hey, let's just take their mind off me for a minute. Can you? Mm-hmm. So maybe Tennessee like skirts the system that way. That's my only hope, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I don't know if the NIL has really anything to do with it. I think it's basically just I don't know. Like the NCAA is so inconsistent with these things, so you never know what's going to happen. But if I know anything, and it's being a Tennessee fan, I know that the NCAA is probably not going to do exactly what we think they're going to do. So
no, that's a great point. I don't think NIL helps Tennessee other than the NCAA is having to deal with a lot of NIL stuff right now.
That's true. Yeah, it might be put on a back burner, and hopefully that's a good thing for Tennessee, and they just kind of maybe forget about it until it's kind of too late to really punish. I guess they're probably still going to punish them, but probably like give us lay the hammer down.
Right, you get away with maybe a little bit more than you should have. I'm also curious like what the NCAA could prove because it doesn't sound like the NCAA was sniffing around. It sounds like right now Tennessee's self-reporting everything, which is dumb.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Speaking of frustrating, also Graham Morgan mentioned this before we get into frustrating games. Did you see the rumor of Kiffin knocking up a cheerleader? Yeah, and I don't know if they have any any leg to stand on those rumors, but they are funny. And Kiffin addressed them head on Twitter in the most Lane Kiffin fashion ever, and I thought it was just a hilarious response. So credit to him for. I think his agent would tell him maybe don't do that, and his athletic director may tell him to. But I love it; it's entertaining for me. Right,
and I mean this isn't the first time like something with Lane Kiffin like that has come up.
Are you? I mean, you're not talking about the Lexus.
Yeah, his whole entire, what was it? 10 months at Tennessee
was he even here for 10 months?
I don't even know. I
guess it had to be pretty close to a year. Yeah, he was probably hired over a year because he was probably hired in December.
Okay. Yeah, so he was probably here right at a year. So and there was a ton of those accusations going around. So
love to see it.
Yeah, to this point, it's nothing to him. It's not like his reputation is ruined at all. So
yeah, I don't think he's worried about that. Yeah. We did. All right. So we had the Landon drop this question on Twitter on later in the week, Thursday or Friday. What are some of the more frustrating games that you've experienced as a Tennessee fan? I assume mainly football. I don't know. Was it just football question? Is it
No,
specific?
I said Tennessee sports. So it
Oh,
could be
Tennessee
any-
sports. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been any basketball games that have been as frustrating as any football games.
That's true. That's a good point.
As frustrating. There's been some frustrating ones.
Yeah.
But I think like one of the more frustrating ones was that 2014 Michigan game, Sweet 16 game.
Yep.
But that was frustrating because Tennessee literally got no calls down the stretch. So
And then
not
got
really
a,
like any
got a
Tennessee
crap
players' fault.
foul called on them, just like they did in 2018.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee's gotten burned in the tournament a couple times, and you can blame it on maybe they didn't play the best, but there's also been some rough calls right there at the final buzzer too. So
Yeah. One for me, and I kind of put this on Twitter, and you can probably agree that it's probably up there for you as well. It's 2018. We went to Vanderbilt. So I kind of go off games that like I was actually there for because I think that makes it a lot worse that you're
Oh, yeah.
actually in attendance. So Tennessee gets beat by Vanderbilt 38-13, had a chance to go bowling, and that team just did not want to play that day. JG was 13 for 29, 139 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Todd Chandler also rushed for 12.6 yards per carry. He had 7 carries for 88 yards, and Tennessee still got blown out by 25 points.
yeah, that's not good. That was a bad game. And that Vanderbilt team wasn't. It's not like losing to some of the the better Vanderbilt teams. It wasn't like that. It was just bad, just very bad. I'm surprised. I saw a bunch of mentions of the Butch Jones. Group of
also-
five games.
Sorry, but I wanted to mention Vanderbilt's stat real quick.
Okay.
Kyle Shermer was 31 for 35 for 367 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I don't know if he threw 31 complete passes the rest of the season.
He probably did not. No.
Like, now I'm not talking about a game. Like, he might have broken his season record against Tennessee. I didn't realize he threw that well. That's
He was
embarrassing.
definitely like a National Player of the Week after that. We made him look incredible.
Yeah. Graham said the Tennessee versus Purdue basketball game, the Elite Eight game, that one sucked. But what's the dude's name that just would he make 10 threes?
Oh yeah,
And you had that foul
Ryan
call down the
Klein.
stretch. Yeah. Then you had that foul call in the to end it too. Chris Nichols said the 2005 Vanderbilt game. He was at the game. He was legitimately angry. Trying to think.
The Patton Robinette Vanderbilt game that kind of hurt. too.
That one hurt.
for
that one's-
local people.
Yeah, and that Vanderbilt team might have. Trying to remember what year was that? 2015
Is that Franklin?
or was that 2013? Was that Butch Jones' first year? If that was Butch Jones' first year, I might be willing to say that Vanderbilt team might have been better than that Tennessee team. James Franklin was definitely the coach. Patton Robinette wasn't even the starter. It was Carter Samuels.
Oh, is that right?
Is that right?
But,
Is that the
but
right
Patton
name?
Robinette had 2 touchdowns?
Well, he should have been the starter on that team. I don't know why he wasn't, but he had the touchdown, that goal line touchdown. That I think he made AJ Johnson jump
Hmm.
in the end zone. Yeah, it sucked. Good Lord. That one was tough. But the ones I was surprised. So a lot of people mentioned the Group of 5 Tennessee Butch Jones era games, like the Ohio game was mentioned, the UMass game was mentioned. And I guess it gets into argument that we had a couple weeks ago, Landon. Would you rather see a terrible high-scoring game or a terrible low-scoring game? Because some of those boat races in the Dooley era against terrible teams, like wasn't there a boat race against Troy? Didn't Troy score
Oh, yeah.
30
I
points on
have-
Tennessee?
I
What
have
year
a
was that?
link.
Because I couldn't find it.
It was 20. Hold on. I have the 2012.
Was
2012.
that 2012? Oh, so that was Dewey's last year. That's the year I'm thinking
Yeah.
of.
It was Tyler Bray,
I had the wrong years in my head. Yeah,
a team
20
that should wipe the floor with that.
well, that team should have won 9 or 10 games. They just had a terrible defense.
Right. Yeah. South Cincinnati, right? Is that
Yeah, South Cincinnati. Akron, who was terrible that year. I remember them being terrible, scored 26 points on that team. We lost to Mississippi State that year, 31-41. I know this is getting off some of the worst games, but yeah, that boat race against Troy. In 2010, we went into overtime with UAB under Dooley. That was a frustrating game. Yeah, there were some frustrating ones in the Dooley era that didn't get tossed out, I guess because Butch kind of ruined that for everyone because as far as frustrating, I can name off a lot in the Dooley era. Any games we were up by 15. You had that opening kickoff back against Arkansas and still lost. Trying to think even more. This one doesn't even Butch's fault. I'll give him this one. Dude, that 2013 Georgia game. The ball was dropped at the goal line. Like, what the? I still don't think he got called touchdown in real time, and I don't know. It just sucks to like take that away from anyone, I think, and especially when I don't know. I could argue about replays all day, but I won't do it.
Well, yeah, and it sucks that like as soon as the first replay happened, you're like, oh my God, he fumbled.
Yeah, true. And I don't think I've seen this one mentioned yet, and I'm kind of shocked. I think maybe it's just because Florida beats us so often that we forget about this one. Maybe it runs under the cracks sometimes. I see it thrown out every once in a while, but that 9-10 Tennessee Florida game.
Yeah, that's rough.
That was bad. And was that not the game that Muschamp said he loved to see all these Tennessee fans going home upset? Was that the game?
God, it probably was. Yeah, it had to be.
You won by 1, 10-9.
Yeah.
After you made a quarterback change. Get out of here, you douche.
And then Mount Cody.
Mount Cody was frustrating. That one was heartbreaking more than frustrating. Like that one was just kind of like the Georgia one.
Yeah.
You're like,
man, this is getting depressing.
I could go on. Like this is kind of like my entire Tennessee
like we're going heartbreakers right now. If we just want to go off like terrible football games, UMass in 2017, 17-13, they were 0-5. Or they're 0-4 at that point. They ended up being 0-5. We beat them 17-13. But we scored 14 points in the second quarter. And I had 3 the rest of the game. Ohio was like, 198 degrees?
Yeah, that game was terrible. Neyland ran out of water early on.
Yeah, we won 28-19.
It was bad. Chris mentioned that we won the first game against NC State in the Dome. Yeah. The first game in the new Dome was Georgia Tech. That one was in the old one. The old
Zach Rogers, baby.
Yeah, Zach Rogers. NC State was supposed to be good that year, if you remember. Like,
yeah, they had a really good corner, and he just got toasted.
Yeah, he did. But I was talking to someone. That was Cordell Patterson, Justin Hunter, and then Derek Rogers was on that team before he got kicked off before the season started. Mm-hmm. Graham Moria mentioned I'm surprised we didn't see this one thrown out, maybe just because Tennessee was still pretty far from winning it. But JG and the fumble on the goal line.
It was David Amerson. That's right. That's
David Amerson. Okay. But yeah, the JG fumble, I think a lot of Tennessee fans would agree on. It maybe just, like I said, kind of slips by because Tennessee may not still win that game, but it changes the trajectory of it for sure.
Yeah, and I also think that Kentucky game this past year had to be, up there as well. Just continuing to throw pick sixes and continuing to put the same guy throwing those pick sixes back out there was.
And then you throw in Shrout, run the ball 3 times or twice, and then have him throw a deep route.
A deep out, yeah.
No, it wasn't a deep out, was it? I thought it was it an out? They had him throwing out too?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Jim Chaney's an idiot. I hate that I ever stuck up for him. we were talking about.
I mean, it was like what 3rd and 15, and he threw an out route to the markers. It was a 15-yard out.
Well, I was talking to someone. They were like, "What do you think? Like one of the hardest things, in sports?" Because it was the argument like hitting a baseball is probably one of the harder things. And I was like, the thing that I think how baseball, like an at bat, could win it is just because, in and of itself, it's a really really hard thing to do that. Whereas like, it's an out route is not a tough it's not incredibly tough to throw. You put a corner out there though, and it's one of the hardest things to do in sports. To throw a deep out. Like that's getting intercepted 10 out of 10 times with an average person out there.
Right. My wife.
Like no one's completing that. You're good. If you don't throw an interception, you just got lucky and either sailed it out of bounds or threw it 10 yards behind.
Well, dude, I started laughing after Stroud threw that pick because I was like, at least they didn't run it back for a touchdown.
We're getting somewhere, boys.
Yeah.
Golly, so many miserable games.
Well, and one of the most frustrating parts is like we ran it like every single play on that one drive and then scored a touchdown like with ease.
Yeah.
It was like one of our fastest drives of the season because we didn't have any big plays, so we had to drive it down the field every single time we scored.
God.
Jim Chaney, man. I mean, Jeremy Pruitt part of it too.
I think it's. I think
He's involved.
I was. That was mean of me to say about Jeremy Pruitt or about Chaney because I don't know if he had full control, but someone else mentioned
he also had a
Peyton.
shitty quarterback. If we're just being honest.
Oh, for sure. Peyton mentioned Purdue basketball. That's one that's going to hang at the top just because for a lot of reasons. That team probably should have been better mixed with, like we mentioned, that dude hitting everything.
Yeah.
So that was frustrating for a lot of reasons. And then the final whistle won it for Purdue.
Georgia State, that was frustrating because we lost that game. We shouldn't have, but like they beat us that day.
Yeah,
Like
Tennessee was never
BYU
in
was
it.
more frustrating because the way you lost. I felt like.
Yeah.
Like I was more mad leaving the stadium for BYU than I was Georgia.
Oh yeah. By the beginning of the fourth quarter, I was already venting. So it's like I got it all out by the end of the Georgia State game. Like I walked out of kneeling, not like, all right, well, let's go to the bar. BYU, I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know where to go. I don't have a safe place.
Cry.
Well, we sat there for a long time. We worked it out. Peyton Hamlin also mentioned Oklahoma football with Baker and Eric Stryker flipping off the fans. 2015 was a very, very frustrating game. It was a frustrating season.
Yeah, what I know it kind of went so 2016 we were terrible at starting games.
Yep.
And then 2015 we were terrible at ending them. That
Yeah.
Florida game in 2015 when they had the 4th and 20 something like that.
What was it? So that was at Florida too. Yes, yeah, that was the 4th down, the long 4th down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the most frustrating ones.
And then the chart says go for 2 here, blah 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 blah. First off, like a lot of people will be like, the chart might have said that, and some people are like, I've never seen that chart. I don't care what side you stand on. The point is, you lost the game. You made the wrong decision. That's like it's that simple. Like that's what bothers me the most about it is I don't give a what the chart said. You lost,
Right.
so shut up. All you can say is we made the wrong decision. It happens. The chart says, shut up. God, it's so annoying.
Yeah, just I don't know. Just man up. Just say you got beat. Just say you're an idiot. Like in 2000, what was it? 18 against Florida, or 2019, right?
I'm trying to remember what game you're talking about. I'm sorry.
The Felipe Franks.
Set the long touchdown 17. The Hail Mary.
Yeah,
17.
that was 17. Okay. Yeah, that game. I mean, that Tennessee team was terrible, but the fact that you had Florida beat and you were playing regular defense when they were around the 50 instead of a prevent is the dumbest thing I've ever.
Well, they had 3 deep safeties. The guy on the left just got beat. I can't remember his name. I'm glad I can't. He let a guy get behind him.
Abernathy.
I wasn't going to say it, but he let a guy get behind him the one time in the game that your only job is the only thing. It's not.
But it wasn't like they were at normal depth. They weren't. They were playing regular defense. That was a question after the game. Was like, why were you not in prevent? And God, who was the?
I'll say this: I'm not a fan of prevent defense, but as long as you have 3 high safeties, just keep everything in front of you. Get depth enough to keep them in front of you, but you don't need to be playing back 30 yards.
Who was our defensive coordinator in 7?
That was Bob Shoot.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was Shoot. Yeah, no, like it just like you can let them catch the ball, just not behind you.
Yeah,
that's it.
You got to make one tackle.
I'm gonna say something I regret, so I'm gonna move on from that. But
yeah, there's a lot in the past. Like what do we name a lot of? Like the past 5 years.
Oh, I don't think we named one. I think the only person that threw one out, not in the last 10 years, was Chris. He said the 2005 Vanderbilt game.
That was Jay Cutler, right?
Jay Cutler, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But a lot of frustrating games. Oh, the thing I was going to say about Butch is the chart thing. There's times when you – like let's pretend the chart says that. And I would have to refresh my memory on exactly what it was. But let's pretend the chart says to kick an extra point there. There's – at times, you got to be a football coach. Like if you read everything that's written down on paper, you're going to get beat more often than you're going to win, which maybe says a lot about Butch Jones as a football coach. I don't know. I'll let him decide that. But You can't just read paper and do everything that's on paper. Some of it's momentum. Some of it's how's your offense playing versus how's your defense playing versus. What if your kicker just tore his hamstring? You still kicking it?
Yeah, there's just so many games in the last 10 years that it's hard to pick one before that.
Yeah, Chris just said he can definitely name more. I'm shocked. I don't think I remember seeing the 2006 SEC championship game. Did you see it?
I did see that a
Yeah.
couple times. Yeah.
Okay.
That was rough.
I didn't see as many of those. That one was sad. That one was real sad. And some
What
people
about the
argue,
one against? Man, when's the last time we went to the?
Sorry, that was 2007 SEC championship game, not 6. Apologies.
That's what the pick.
That was the one in the end zone. Yeah, in our end zone.
I saw
In our
the Jabbar
defensive end zone.
Gaffney catch.
Yeah, catch.
That was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot. God dang. It's been rough, guys. It's amazing we're still here.
It is. That's a great point. It is.
It's amazing.
Oh, it's fun to dwell on the past. Maybe we'll celebrate the past at some point in our lives. Maybe. I would love to tell these stories after a national championship or two. That would be nice.
Yeah, make it
These
worth it.
these stories would be a lot funnier
Let's make it worth it a little
if you
bit.
won some games now. Let's look towards the future, which I don't know if I'm very excited about that either. Quarterback. It's like I mentioned earlier in the show. I really do believe this offense has more talent than maybe it's being given credit for.
Oh, I did see some of the Wyoming game. I'm sorry to add another one.
Oh, well, the Wyoming game was so sad too, just because that was right after Philip Fulmer resigned,
Yeah,
or forced to resign, I should say.
for the first time.
Fair. Recruiting was really good though.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't believe that was said.
I didn't ever see it with the the theme to the golly, the HBO. What was that HBO show? Good God.
Sopranos.
No. Oh, God, I can't think of the actor or the name of the show now. I just know it's not HBO. I'll think of it later. I'm surprised we never saw that. Where it zooms in with the. I don't know if I'm giving enough for anyone in the chat to know what I'm talking about. Maybe
Game of Thrones.
No. It's
I'm trying to think of HBO shows.
yeah. I'm just gonna look it up now. But where was I going with it before that too? Other than the quarterbacks.
Oh, here quarterbacks, baby. What do you think about
Someone's already asked who's the quarterback, so you better have a good answer.
I know Harrison Bailey was at the Manning Passing Academy, and that's been a big talk in the Entourage. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Oh.
It's the
It's a good show too, Chris. Thanks for the.
God, everyone's gonna know the exact type of video I'm talking about when I can. Yeah, so it's I haven't seen the edit of Philip Fulmer saying, "Well, recruiting's certainly been good," and Curb Your Enthusiasm. Thank you, Chris. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Is that an HBO show? I'm almost positive it is.
I have no clue. I don't have no clue what you're talking about. I've never seen that show.
Really? I can't think of the actor's name now. That Larry David does it. It's a Larry David show. But yeah, it's the mute. I don't know. I'll have to give you an example after we get off because I couldn't find a video right now. But
Word.
yeah. Okay. Quarterback though. Harrison Bailey's, yes, he's at the Manning Academy. So I'm sure we'll hear Peyton Manning and Archie Manning talk about how good Harrison Bailey played this week and whatnot. So I feel like that's death now.
Yeah, we were kind of banking on him being QB1, but now we're just like, maybe not. But yeah, I think it is kind of a two-man race. I think it's, obviously Josh Heupel wasn't exactly ecstatic with the quarterback room coming out of spring practice. That's why he added Joe Milton. So I think that has something to say that, this is Joe Milton's the only guy on this roster, or only quarterback on this roster that Josh Heupel has actually brought in.
Yeah, and it I just haven't seen a lot. Obviously, I know he's only really had 1 year at Michigan that he played any. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. Like, I really don't even know what to think about the quarterback race. I mean, part of me is still like, maybe it's Harrison Bailey, but I'm kind of with you in the sense that if Josh Heupel brings Joe Milton in, he transferred for a reason. That obviously doesn't mean he wins it outright, but I don't know. I want to think Harrison Bailey. Also, is that Gaston Moore guy? What's his transfer deal? I know he came from UCF. What's up with that?
He's a walk-on.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think that's
even a viable option.
Yeah, maybe he's looking to be a GA at some point. Who knows? Yeah, I don't think he'll be in that race at all. But Joe Milton, I felt like he's at Michigan. He was one of those guys that looks like Tarzan and kind of played like Jane. He had 3 games last season that his QBR was under 20. That's terrible.
Yeah. Again, I don't
JG didn't even have that. And JG played a full season almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just I don't know. I understand, he's big, and maybe if quarterback doesn't work out for him, he could probably play another position. Whereas Harrison Bailey, I don't think that's the case.
Right.
But dude, Michigan fans are just guys, y'all are overhyping this dude for what he is. I hope, if there is, I guess Josh Heupel's considered a QB whisperer. I don't know if that's safe to say because we thought that about Jim Chaney as well.
I don't know if I'm going to give him the QB whisperer tag.
But he's got a lot better. Yeah. He has developed some guys. I'll give him that throughout his career. Drew Lock, Landry Jones.
We only had Drew Lock for a year, right? Maybe 2.
Dylan Gabriel.
I think he's also kind of been he's been helped by circumstances that he's come into. So I'm not willing to say he's just complete. Obviously, he's got to have a hand in it. He's had to have had a hand in it if he's coached them. But let's see, Tennessee, maybe he gets some guys in here for 4 years, or he'll have Harrison Bailey for 3, and let's see or maybe just 2. That would be nice. That means good things probably. But yeah, I'm gonna, especially because we thought Jeremy Pruitt could do anything with the defensive back, and maybe 1 in his time here.
Well, and he couldn't recruit them.
Yeah, and then the defensive line, the position he was responsible last year, was probably the most overrated position group.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's probably between those 2 guys, Joe Milton, Harrison Bailey. But if I'm going what I've seen from the 2 of those quarterbacks, I think you have to go Harrison Bailey. Joe Milton, what was his completion rating last year was 56%. I think Harrison Bailey's was 71%. And that was with a pretty terrible offensive line behind him too.
Yeah.
Offensive line that when he got knocked down didn't even help him up. And he threw 71. He completed 71% of his passes. So, yeah, if I'm going based off, last year, I think you got to go Harrison Bailey. But, who knows? Maybe Josh Heupel was able to get something out of Joe Milton that, no one's seen up to this point.
Yeah, and another thing, too, for Harrison Bailey, a lot of people are concerned with, his mobility and whatnot, and then how he fits into the Heupel offense. One of the first things Heupel said, and he's kind of prided himself on it, is him and Gold someone else said it in that offensive press conference. I almost said Golish, but I don't know if that's right. They were like, we're all about tailoring what we do to our players. Otherwise it doesn't work. Well, Harrison Bailey is obviously a really talented guy. Now, how much that translates to this level is yet to be determined, but he's obviously got talent. So if Josh Heupel is really going to kind of pride himself on that, and that's going to be something he's about, well, then you should be able to do something with the talented guys you have on campus. Tailor that offense to fit him. Does he fit exactly what Josh Heupel did at UCF? Probably not. Should you still be able to tweak some things to make it fit? Yeah. If you're a good football coach, you should be able to do that.
Yeah, I think, this group has some weapons too. I just think they were kind of closed off with their offense last season. It's all about quarterback play, and that Tennessee was terrible last year because they had terrible quarterback play.
Right.
I think the skill position was there. You had receivers, you had running backs. Eric Gray, Jabari Small, Ty Chandler. You had Josh Palmer had a great year. Jalen Hyatt, Bayless Jones, but you couldn't get it in their hands. So I feel like a lot of this offense is to get athletes in space and let them do the work, and that's something Tennessee just could not do last season. So, yeah, I think if you're going based off that, just getting into athletes' hands, you got to go with the more accurate quarterback, and that's Harrison Bailey. Hendon Hooker, I think they're worried about him. He can't, throw it down the field. And
yeah, but I think he may be that dark horse. I just don't think – I don't see Brian Maurer being in the mix for these guys. So if I'm going to throw a third on there, I would say Hendon Hooker.
Right. I mean, you've had a season where Harrison Bailey beat out Brian Maurer pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll find out the differences between the two staffs then.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Hendon Hooker, I saw a highlight reel the other day of him throwing 3 interceptions to one player against Wake Forest in 2014, or not in 2014, last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, ugh. We don't want that. And all those throws are down the field.
Right.
So, yeah, I just don't know, like, his decision-making, I guess.
Yeah, that's another good question, too, that I want to ask is can Tennessee complete the bubble pass? Because I got to imagine it's going to end up being a huge part of Heupel's offense. I know I saw a few at UCF, and then it's just the Tennessee way. So every coach at Tennessee has just been crazy about the bubble pass. I don't know if there's something about Neyland Stadium. It just screams this is the perfect place for a bubble pass, but it'll be done at Tennessee.
It's the bodies underneath. They just scream bubble pass.
They're encouraging you to run the bubble.
I mean, wouldn't, like, Harrison Bailey's, like, first pass, like, a bubble pass?
I'm sure. I don't know, but
I think it was completed.
Oh, wow.
That's why
Harrison
we're like,
Bailey,
oh my God, he's our
future.
savior. He can complete a bubble pass. Let's
I love it.
I don't know if you can increase the scholarship amount, but yeah, let's do that.
Agreed.
Now you can do NIL deals, and McDonald's paid them. I mean, Jeremy Pruitt was ahead of the curve with that. I mean, if you ask me.
I 100% agree with that. 100% agree. Bring him back. All right. Speaking of being back.
So who do you think? Who do you think is the quarterback? If we're just basing off like no one knows anything.
Who do I think versus who do I think maybe is more talented, or two different people? I think Hendon Hooker, excuse me, Joe Milton will probably be the guy against Bowling Green. But everything we've known about these guys, I think Harrison Bailey's probably the better quarterback on the roster.
I think they'll be forced to play two different guys, and that is scary. I don't want that to happen. I want you to be able to pick somebody and kind of be able to roll with them. Obviously,
I hope they get to play two guys against Bowling Green.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, get to, not have to.
You haven't really gotten to the last couple of years.
You've had to.
The previous coaching staffs haven't. Well, they haven't even done that. Georgia State, how many quarterbacks played?
That's a good point.
So hopefully they get to. Previous staffs have not taken advantage of.
I mean,
Power 5 games.
It took what, a 3 and out and 2 pick sixes for them to finally take JG out.
Still wasn't his last appearance, was it?
No, I think he came back, didn't he?
He did. I think he came back in that game.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh my God, dude, Jeremy Pruitt is terrible. I mean, oh my God. I think we talked about it last episode, like the worst quarterback or the worst coaches in the past, I guess, out of the last four. And I said it last episode. I was like, by the end of this, Jeremy Pruitt could end up being the worst one.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're just looking at direct on field, like what occurred on the field, the 2018 or 2019 season is barely saving Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah.
Barely. It's between Derek Dooley and Jeremy Pruitt.
And what's crazy is if the investigation didn't happen, Jeremy Pruitt's still the football coach here.
Yeah, and I'm sure this year would be looking just splendid right now.
I'm sure too. Ugh.
God bless. All right.
Would JG still be back?
Who'd you say? Do what?
Would JG still be back?
There's no way. No, he had announced before all that.
He
happened.
did. Okay,
I'm pretty
I didn't
sure.
remember.
I'm pretty sure. There's just no way either. But
I kind of feel like it is Joe Milton. I feel like there is something to say that Josh Heupel brought him in for a reason. But yeah, I think Harrison Bailey is probably your better. I think he's a safer bet.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And like, I don't understand the Manning Passing Academy. Is it just like who can go, or
and I'm sure
selected?
I think with college players, because they're not necessarily there to like participate. Usually, they're usually there to
counselors.
Now they do some like, I guess, training, but because they demonstrate and stuff like that. But yeah, they're essentially counselors, instructors. So as far as getting invited, it's probably just who schedule does it fit? Who'd we talk to early on? I don't know what it.
Who's been in the program? Probably
maybe been in the program. Who's been to the academy before? Okay. Harrison Bailey being from the South. I don't know, where's Joe Milton from originally?
Florida, I think.
Okay, so
yeah, he's from Orlando. He's from Olympia.
So he may have attended it too, but it may be just, I'm sure it's something like that. And I don't know exactly how those invites occur, but
yeah.
And it may be a thing. Harrison Bailey may have reached out to them, or maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on. I probably think it's going to be Joe Milton, but if I were to pick, it'd probably be Harrison Bailey, in my opinion. Let's move on to. Did we lose you for a second? You back?
Yep. I thought I lost you. Turns out you lost me.
Nice. I'll just go into our next segment.
Let's do it.
Evan Russell working his way back to Rocky Top.
Back like he never left, because he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
Leave.
Right.
Good move. I mean, I didn't think there was any chance he was leaving after his comments in Omaha. Just didn't seem like he wanted to go. Didn't seem like he had a reason to. So why would he? Maybe the only thing is that there's going to be a lot of. At Tennessee, the coaches have said it publicly. Like, there's no guaranteed playing time. Not that I don't think Evan Russell will be on the field, especially more often than not. But there's no playing time guaranteed, and he knows that there's other guys around him that are just as deserving as him. So that's the only thing that maybe could have kept him away. But if competition keeps you away, then you're probably in the wrong business. Yeah,
I think he's one of those guys that loves wearing Tennessee across his chest. And I think his dad did an interview. I think it was after the Super Regionals, maybe after the first game in Omaha. Just said when he got selected to play for Team Tennessee in high school, like he was like, that's what I want to do. I want to play for my state. And, he's just like a John Fulkerson guy. Like and we've kind of mentioned this when we looked at the roster and stuff, is like a guy that could possibly come back as Evan Russell. And, his comments in Omaha, but he is a Tennessee guy, born, bred Tennessee. So yeah, it was probably kind of a no-brainer. But yeah, there is no. There's that outfield's loaded.
That outfield's very loaded. At least you do have the DH spot that
you don't lose anybody in your outfield.
You don't lose anybody, and then you have Kyle Booker, who he doesn't want to sit on the bench, and he's good enough not to. And so I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they structure that. That outfield come next spring, come February, but. The good news is you have enough spots for those guys to all get in on the action. And, Kyle Booker, kind of on the assumption that Evan Russell may be gone. You thought he'd just slot into left field there and be the guy. Now it's like, who's left out in the field and who's DH? And I think is the question for those four outfielders.
And it's a good thing for Tennessee fans is like you get the best of both worlds. Whoever it is, they beat out somebody that was really good or really talented. So
right.
I think, Drew Gilbert's going to be there. And then those other three guys are going to be in the lineup. They can hit.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Kyle Booker, he's way too good to sit on the bench. He's not going to sit on the bench. So, yeah, is he a DH? maybe, but I think he's an everyday player. He's a guy that's probably getting drafted here pretty soon. So, who's he going to be? I think Evan Russell's done an incredible job in the field, and obviously with the bat. He had 2-3 home run games this past season against Vanderbilt and LSU, who were really good. One made it all the way to the College World Series finals, and one made it to the Super Regional and got beat by Tennessee. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, Tennessee's outfield is pretty loaded for next season. I think that's a good thing.
It's fantastic. Very excited. Obviously, getting Evan Russell's back, but does raise some new questions. Good questions. It's not like looking at the one we just got done talking about, where it's like, I don't know.
Right.
This one's a little bit different. It's a good problem to have, and going to be. But I know Tennessee's lineup, top of the lineup, is going to be really, really strong. Bottom of the lineup, probably still some, question marks there. But wasn't that a question mark at the beginning of this baseball season too? And then you had some just consistency out of that bottom of the lineup, and it made Tennessee a really dangerous team. Obviously in Omaha, it kind of stunk. No one could get it out, but. Still some guys, plenty of guys getting on base. And so, I think as long as you have consistency out of the top of your lineup there, I feel like you're kind of just buying the bottom of your lineup time. Because, you're not going to have 9 hitters on any given day. That's just not the nature of it. So, but I do feel confident in the first few guys.
Yeah, and those 4 guys that we mentioned are 4 guys that could be at the top of that lineup.
They really could be.
That could be your first 4 hitters, honestly. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. We've spoke to somebody really close to that program saying Kyle Booker is way too good to be back on the bench, and that's not going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see kind of how it plays out. But he's tearing it up right now in the California League. It is really good to get a guy in his 6th year, a Tennessee guy, and a guy who has a phenomenal career for Tennessee, and Evan Russell back. I think from a leadership aspect, I think that's all you want is a guy like in your program like that, like a John Fulkerson.
Right. Well, when you mentioned Kyle Booker too, you're like, he's too good to be sitting on the bench. The only reason he was this year was because of Evan Russell, and you saw what kind of season he had. So that tells you anything about, Kyle Booker, there were some games that he played over Evan Russell at the beginning of the year. Now I know that's probably kind of nature of just getting different guys in, getting different looks. But it's also, it wasn't – if it's just your job, it's just your job. It clearly wasn't that. So,
yep, 14 home runs. I think 13 of those were in SEC play. So when the lights are on, the stakes are high. Evan Russell shows up. He batted .238 this season, and I think that only gets better because, that's – in his 4-year career so far, that's his worst average. Now I know a lot of his hits came at really big times, but 238 is probably not where he wants to be. He's probably one up near that 300 range. So, hopefully he's able to have build on that last year. And even if it is a DH position for him, I think he's perfectly okay with that because he just loves to be at Tennessee.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Anything else for baseball or, I guess anything else for football before we get into segments?
Hey, we saw Tony Vitello. We're good.
Yeah, we got the extension. Signed, still delivered. I didn't get to read Mike Wilson's article yet, but he wrote an article today that I think just talking about his decision to re-sign and whatnot. So I'll have to go check that out.
So I think while there wasn't anything in the contract, so there might be an amendment to that contract. About the stadium upgrades is because you have to go through the board. And I don't think they meet until the end of this month. So I think that's probably the reason
Gotcha.
all that is not in there.
Okay. I didn't know if that would that might just be a handshake agreement because I don't know how you necessarily put stadium upgrades in like a coaching contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. You can't just go out there and just start with a hammer and shovels and jackhammers and just start tearing up things. It has to go through a board. But the building commission, I think is what it's called.
But if you guys do need someone to do that, we'll do it for free.
There you go. Yeah.
So just let us know. I can't build anything, but I can certainly tear it down.
There you go. Yeah. We'll get some sledgehammers, get some safety goggles. I got some gloves. We can use. We got plenty of gloves.
In fact, I will tear down what needs to be torn down at Lindsey Nelson. I will not ever take out a trough though.
Sure, yeah.
Explicitly stated.
Unless I'm taking it to my house. Sorry to the wife. We will have a trough if need be.
If you guys ever need help with your bathroom renovations, I will under the condition that there's a trough put in.
Right.
So any other addition, I'm
on our lunch breaks, we're taking hacks.
Yeah.
Daddy hacks, if you will.
There you go. All right. If you got any questions, drop them in the chat. We're going to go ahead and jump into our most important of the week. We'll get to any questions if you've got them. Or do we have any pre-show?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We just had some in the chat, which we love.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah, that's all we got. Didn't have any pre-show, but thanks for you guys hopping in the chat. We really love it. If you see that little if you want to press on that little thing, get us some love in here, that'd be great. We appreciate that. We got some big things coming.
Yeah.
Tailgates are coming
soon. Cannot wait.
What are we at? 46 days?
Is that right? Dang. It's sneaking up. I can't believe it's almost the end of July. 2 more weeks in July left.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Kind of depressing too. Most important.
My first one is going to be Colin Morikawa winning the British Open this morning. It's his second major already. He's just 24 years old. His first one was the PGA Championship right out a year ago, or a little bit less than a year ago, I think. And I'm trying to confirm. I think it's his. He's only played in 8 majors, I think, to this point. So he's won 2 of the 8 he's played. I'm trying to get that exact stat. Yeah, which is pretty incredible. I think he also posted the lowest score for the Open, I believe.
Okay.
So just an insane day from him. And Jordan Spieth was breathing down his neck the last couple holes. I was rooting for Spieth personally, but I also like Colin Morikawa a whole lot. I tried to get Brody to bet on him. He didn't listen to me, and he went with Spieth. So, tough.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. My first one is the St. Paul Saints minor leagues. We're going to minors, baby.
Big minor leagues.
The batter, he's a right-handed batter, and turns on one and hits it into the third base dugout where there is a guy sitting like on the step, and he hits it right to him, and the dude just barehanded without like any hesitation catches it.
Where were they at?
It was the St. Paul Saints tweeted this.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the guy is just sitting in the dugout, like at the step of the dugout, like where people go down in it.
Yeah,
he's just sitting at that like gate, and he hits it right to him, and he just puts out his hand and catches it. I mean that exit velocity is probably like over 100, and he just broke every bone in his hand. But it was an awesome video, worth it, going viral.
Yeah, and I'm pretty impressed more people don't just die in the dugout, honestly. I am shocked by that.
I mean, it's so weird that they have like, why is there not like in Little League, they have the full pretty much chain link fence in front of them. But yeah, and like high school and college and pros, they just let it hang out. You gotta be able to dodge, man. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Feeling ballsy. See, I think I have another most important. So I pulled up. I was still trying to get the stat for Colin, but Nashville SC. That was it. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce his name because it's so close to Emily's last name. It cracks me up, but it's not Haney, but it's like Hani Mukhtar. Hat trick in the first 15 minutes last night.
Nice.
Yeah. Pretty nuts how he did it. Got lucky maybe a few times, but then also had a nasty free kick to top it off. So
okay.
Yeah.
Love that.
So the TBT started. The basketball tournament started. John Elmore for the Marshall team I don't know if you'll be able to see this. He was drawing up plays on the court.
Oh,
He's got
dry
chalk.
erase board.
No,
It's chalk.
it's chalk. He's just going at the hardwood floor with chalk, drawing up plays on the sideline.
That's new.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm like, you really couldn't afford to go buy a dry board?
Yeah,
uh,
and I'm
dry
sure,
erase board? Loved it.
sure whoever like does that court is probably pissed.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, not happy about it at all.
I have the White Sox fans hitting around a blown up trash can in honor of the Astros being in town. It's awesome. It was
What exactly were they doing?
so like they throw up the beach ball. This is like
Yeah.
a blown up trash can that
That's
was just all
awesome.
hitting around.
Yeah, that is good. It's a great one. I've got a couple fails. So are you ready to go to that, or you got most important?
Yeah, let's go to it.
All right, before we do that, though, we did get a question from Vols for Life _554. Who are the wide receivers that we will use the most this year?
Hyatt Vales Jones.
Yeah. Do you have a prediction for one or two? Like who sees the most?
I think in this offense, you want to say Jalen Hyatt, but I think Valus Jones is probably gonna get the majority, and they could be splitting hairs. But I think he has maybe I think he's gonna break more tackles. Now Jalen Hyatt can get behind anybody.
I think it's who can get into space most is who's gonna.
Yeah, but I think if you had Mac Jones or Joe Burrow throwing, Jalen Hyatt's probably your guy because he can get behind anybody. But Valus Jones, I feel like can break more tackles, and obviously he has more experience. So I'd probably go Valus Jones. But man, I'd love to see some completed bombs to Jalen Hyatt too.
I agree. Would love to do that. Graham asked, are the Tennessee alumni not playing in this TBD tournament? This is the regional play right now. So Tennessee is playing. We looked it up last night, Landon. Do you remember the dates?
I guess
it's next weekend.
It's next week.
Regionals.
Yeah, the 24th maybe through the 27th.
Gotcha.
That sounds kind of right. But yeah, it's next week sometime.
Yeah, so they're doing regionals right now. ETSU actually won their first game today. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, go Buccaneers.
Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. I think is how you say it.
Buccaneers. Okay, that makes more sense.
Is that what they are? I'm going to look it up now.
That's witty. That's cool. My fail while you're looking that up is the Big 12. They're going to crack down on the horns down gesture this season.
Yeah, sorry. Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. Okay.
It's like the end of the Buccaneers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go on, though, because this is a great one. I can't wait to make fun of this.
Yeah, Big 12 going to crack down on a horns down gesture. Hey, Big 12, suck it. What are you going to do to me? What can you really do to anybody?
Dude, the greatest troll event of all time would be for Oklahoma to add that to their like this is our official alternate logo is horns down. Because then how can you punish them?
You can't.
Because then you have to punish Texas for doing the horns.
Right.
So I would do it if I'm Oklahoma, I'd just start doing it every game and be like, this isn't even associated with Texas. This is our thing.
Or I would just complain that they're saying Sooners up and that's offensive.
Yeah, no. The Sooners up offensive, Sooners down.
No, if they're doing like this, that's Sooners up. That's offensive.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, good one. Yes.
Or that's so it's like a flipped. Like they flip the carriage.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Which they do themselves, so they don't need any help doing that. Tennessee needs to adopt this as our alternate, so we can, when we start beating Florida, if we ever do, we can get to do that. Get to who did in the end zone end up maybe losing us the game?
John Kelly.
Yeah, that guy. Might have lost us the game, but nah. We won't talk about that.
He also, if we didn't have John Kelly, we also get beat by 40.
That's a fantastic point. That's a fantastic point.
He was so underrated. And it sucks we only really got to experience him for 1 year, 1.5, kind of.
Yeah, agreed.
Because, dude, he was so damn good. We could have used him. I mean, looking back, he probably made the right decision by not being around that team. Because 2018 was pretty bad.
It was a rough year. Rough year. My first sale of the week goes to the Mets. Did you see this play against the Pirates today?
No, I didn't.
I don't really know what happened. It looks like a ball.
Well, they won, so I won money. So
they did end up winning. Well, early in the game, this was the first inning. Yeah, bases were loaded. It looked like a ball was going to go foul, just right off the bat. I guess it bounced in play a couple times, and then the pitcher, I don't know how to say his first name, Walker, Taijuan Walker.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he kicks the ball. I don't know how the ball shot off how it did. There's no way it went off his glove. But then I couldn't tell if it was in play or not. He was swearing it wasn't in play, so the ball should have been foul. Well, they called it fair. They score, I think, 2 runs in all the confusion because the ball is pretty much in the dugout at this point.
Nice.
Where he'd kicked it over there. And the Mets are just arguing the call. They're not even trying to play. And Pirates score, I think, 2 runs on a terrible play. I don't even know how you score that. Is it just one error? Because I feel like you could credit it to several errors.
Yeah, I think there was a play in the Bad News Bears movie where they have 8 errors on one play. So, yeah, it can happen.
Sorry, will you repeat that? My headphones got unplugged.
There's a play with the Bad News Bears where they have 8 errors in one.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, it can happen.
I feel like it should be at least 2 errors for the run score.
Yeah.
Dang, what did the Mets
Also, depending on how bad the error is, it could count as 2.
Wait, I need to see how they might have scored more than just 2 runs in that. I'm gonna have to go back and look. What do you know what the final ended up being? Because you said the Mets won
7-6, I think. I can look it up for sure, but I think that's what it was.
The Pirates suck.
7-6. Yep. Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things to do is just bet against the Pirates.
I don't blame you.
I do that, and I bet against the Orioles, which the Orioles kind of screw me every now and then, but usually the Pirates lose. So
the Pirates are almost guaranteed to lose. So that's a great call. So they scored all their runs in the first inning, in the bottom of the first. So that mayhem played a lot on it.
Oh my God! So they scored 6 runs in the first inning and lost 7-6.
Yeah, they only scored 2 on that play though. So I was right about that.
Oh my gosh! So it was counted as 2 errors.
It was counted as 2 errors. I'll
Yeah.
figure for that.
Scored on an error, and Reynolds scored save at third on a fielding error by catcher. Yeah, so 2 errors in that sequence. That's awesome.
Nuts. Bet against the Diamondbacks, Graham Morgan said. Well, I think they beat
I
my
don't know.
Cubs tonight.
Yeah, they're pretty
Or today.
pretty hot and cold team to bet against. Usually the Pirates shouldn't be a major league team. They should take the best AAA team and just replace them with the Pirates.
Oh, a little promotion relegation here.
Yeah, I'm going soccer.
I'm
learning.
I like it. My next and last fail of the week is Kyle Busch. Did you see him pushing the pace car around a little bit today?
I could, and I fell asleep.
Apparently, there was some questions about the good call integrity of the track. Rained a little bit. I don't know where they're racing at this weekend. Nowhere big, or that I care about big. New Hampshire.
It wasn't Tona.
It wasn't Daytona or Dager. I'd know. But yeah, so some frustration. So Kyle Busch gets out there for the restart and is just pushing, giving the pace car a little love tap, letting him know he's there.
There you go.
What a douchebag!
Rubbin's racing, right?
I don't know how fast they're going in the pace car, but what a douchebag to get out there and just push the pace car from behind.
Yeah, it's dude. What do you want me to do?
Well, apparently the pace car has a say in whether the track's safe or not. Apparently. And I think Kyle Busch had maybe spun out a little bit due to wet roads. But at the same time, I'm like, you're really just going to go wreck this guy? Really?
Yeah,
that's how you're going to handle it?
Is that not
Oh, I'm sure he'll get a hefty fine for it. I would imagine.
I mean, Is that not attempted murder? I mean, we're being honest.
Dang, how much do you hate Kyle Busch?
I mean, like, I'm talking about like if you're trying to wreck somebody.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up. It's pretty messed up. I don't know if I would go as far as attempted murder. Yeah,
reckless endangerment. Yeah,
might be a better charge.
Yeah, maybe attempted
Jeez,
murder is a little nuts. Depends on how hard that tap is.
Yeah, I was just like, what an idiot. I mean, I don't know how dangerous it really was. I know if I was the pace car driver, I would have been freaking pissed.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, what's up?
God bless it. You have any other fails?
That's all I got, man.
That's it. Yeah, it's been a fun one. Appreciate y'all hopping in. Real quick, last question, Vols for Life. Said, what about the running back room? Who is the number one guy?
Jabari Small.
Got to be, right?
Yeah, I think Jalen Hyatt and Tyon Evans probably get, some carries. I think you have to have 2 or 3 guys that can touch the football, but those would be my 3 probably going into the season.
Hold on, sorry. You said Jabari Small.
Jalen Wright, not Jalen Hyatt.
Wright. I was like, no, you're good. I was trying to figure out. I was like, who Jalen? I knew you didn't mean Jalen Hyatt. I was like,
yeah, my bad.
So it took me a minute to figure that one out.
Yeah, I could see D Beckwith maybe in there, but I just think he's set up better at another position.
I would agree with that. I'd like to see him put. I would like to see them put more weight on him and move him to tight end personally.
Yeah, I agree. But you have 3.
Yeah,
difficult thing. You have 3 true freshmen that are
that's true.
Pretty good pickups at tight end.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Maybe slim him down and put him in a receiver.
I think he's only 220 right now. I think he's fine.
Yeah, he could play.
I mean, yeah, he could definitely. It wouldn't kill him to lose some, but
yeah,
no.
Yeah, maybe he gets some carries, but I just think he's probably better suited. I think he's kind of at a weird spot where, he's probably good at a bunch of different positions, but is he great at any of those? I don't know.
Yeah, and then he's got to fit into the right, the right spot too. So
right. And if I just think that's the one position where Tennessee is kind of set at is running back. So somebody's going to get left out. Is it Jalen Wright? Is it Tyon Evans? Is it D Beckwith? T. Hodge is another guy that they really like, but unfortunately, he's probably not going to see much playing time unless he just shows out in fall camp of what we've seen so far. I just don't see him getting a ton of carries.
Yeah, no, agreed. I have a lot of faith in Jabari Small too. I'll say that. So
yeah, he's number 1 for sure. So
yep. Love it. Guys, again, it's been a lot of fun. I'm with you there, Graham. I'll be watching the TBT tournament too. I'm excited for that. Volunteers coming on next week. More sports. Real quick, who do you have winning the finals now that Bucks are up 3-2?
Oh man, I mean, you got to go with the Bucks.
You think they finish it off?
I just think the way Chris Paul's playing, I don't think the Suns can win it without him picking it up, and he's just been terrible.
Interesting. I'm in the boat of I don't know if the Bucks can close it out. I don't know if Giannis can
finish
it off.
Dude, he went 4 for 11 from the free throw line. I'll never be able to.
It's not winning basketball, that's for sure.
I mean, and he's basically a guard. It'd be different if he was Shaq or Dwight Howard. And I know he's as tall as those guys, but when you can dribble the ball like that, you should have some sort of control when you shoot the basketball. And he has none. He's shooting a layup or a floater, and that's all he can do.
Yeah, that's about it. You're right.
And our dunk. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that he's able to be put up as many points as he can. Because, dude, I mean, he'd have 50 points a game if he could actually shoot.
Yeah, he would change his game. I mean, golly, how good would he be if he ever finds one?
I know. It's crazy.
He's already really freaking good now. So
yeah,
guys, it's been great. We'll see you back here on Thursday this week.
Yep.
Be here Thursday at 8 p.m. still.
8 p.m. Yep.
8 p.m. on Thursday night. So we'll see you then.
That's going to be our new slot for now is Thursday at 8. So yeah, just tune in with that. We'll get it out. That way we can have y'all something to listen to on Friday on the way to work. if you don't get to make it on Thursday night. That's all we got. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.